3, 2, 1. Hello, and welcome to Tucson, Arizona. I'm Randy, joined today by my bestie friend, Nicholas. Let's get this kicked off, dude. It's our first video together.
I know.
So we're going over what we can and can't talk about, and we can talk about whatever the hell we want. We're just not going to talk about some things because we don't want to.
Like what?
Like
dirty
things I don't want to talk about. Mostly things that we'll only do in the after show.
Bedtime activities.
Yeah. Street time activities, daytime activities, front yard activities, backyard activities.
Back nine.
So primarily for the channel, what I'm hoping to do, and we'll see where we overlap, because we really haven't talked much about, like, you were down when I said I wanted to do a show, and you were like, hell yeah, I'm down. But we've talked about doing it, but we haven't talked about any details.
Yeah.
So what my goal is primarily is all selfish, and I've made one video so far I haven't posted that I explain this in some pretty fun detail, because it was like 11 o'clock at night. I was pretty tired, and I was like, I'm just going to talk. Selfishly, I wanted to do this because as many cool people as I know, you can always know someone better. Yeah, 3. No, fuck, not even 3. Oh, man, I'm going to have to edit that out. As many fun people as I know, like you and I go back, dude, almost 30 years.
95?
Yeah, so we're coming up on 30 years, dude, 29 years.
Yep.
And I was involved in most things in your life and vice versa. There's still things that, like, experiences you have, stories you're going to have that I wasn't there for, or I don't know about, or just don't remember. But I want to be able to spend time with people I enjoy hanging out with, and this gives a solid reason to get people to come hang out. Like, you know, like Troy's going to be coming on.
Yep.
Professional bodybuilder, just won his pro card, was a professional strongman, was a big rig driver in the military. He's got some really fun stories there, driving the Hets. Was a corrections officer. Like, the dude's got great stories, and we really don't hang out outside of work.
Yeah.
We text and stuff all the time, spend time on the phone, but, like, I hit him up and said, hey, dude, I want you to come hang out. And he's like, dude, hell yeah. Like, everyone's been excited. That's what's awesome. Like, you were super excited. My wife was excited. My family is excited. And then everybody I've asked to show up, like, dude, hell yeah. Like, I'm down. Like Chadwick's so down to come hang out. I just
don't know what to do with my hands.
I don't know what to do with my hands. If you don't chew Big Red, you know what's up.
Yes.
Like, I selfishly, I want to be able to get people I enjoy hanging out with and BSing with to come hang out and BS, and we can make videos. And so I'm being selfish, like purely selfish reasons. I just want to hang out with people I enjoy hanging out with. And these are things we talk about, hang out, doing anyway. Why not try to bring that to somebody else? So then the less selfish reason, the more selfless reason that I really want to do this is everyone has bad days and everyone goes through shit. Lord knows I go through a lot. I think it's a universal trait. It's not just me. And if we can bring levity to someone else's day, if we can bring, you know, some kind of insightful thought, which probably isn't going to happen between us, but who knows, a guest might bring on something funny and good. But if we can bring out the good in someone else's day and help relieve some of their nonsense for an hour or two, however long a video is, I would love that. Even if we never meet somebody who's going through something, but if we share a story that someone else can relate to or whatever, like, that's what I want to do.
You never know what anybody else is going through. That's the hard part. So,
yeah, dude, you always got a storm brewing, you know, under the surface.
Everybody
and
does.
Yeah, and if we can say something ridiculous and show our
make them laugh.
Yeah, and just, you know, help someone get through something.
Like we do at the casino.
Yeah, man. Like, I've got a weird knack, and it bothers my wife. I've got a weird knack, even though I'm not like a people person typically. I can strike up a conversation with anybody at any time about almost anything, and just leave a bar, a restaurant, a sporting event, whatever it is we're doing, with a new, like, friend.
Yep.
Like, I don't know, I just got a weird superpower, I guess. I can't keep a friend, but I can make a friend. That's kind of the thing I'm able to do. So for the people, all 2 people who might ever watch this video, I want to kind of do a loose interview of everyone that shows up and hangs out. So, who are you, buddy? Where are you from? What's your name, girl?
My name is Nicholas Peterson. Everybody calls me Nick. I was born in Utah. My family's Mormon for the most part, most of them. Had 2 brothers, 1 sister, half brother, half sister of the older ones, then full brother. His name's John. He may actually be on at some point. Never know. So they're a little bit older, but I grew up with pretty much just John. We moved here to Arizona when I was 7 in '94. Moved to Tucson because my dad had to move for jobs. Then he got a job at Davis-Monthan, and then we moved out to Marana in beginning of '95, and that's right before I met you. Lived in Marana or close to Marana, Tucson, pretty much the rest of my life. Traveled a little bit. Not much exciting about my life.
So you still Mormon?
Debatable. I mean, I think all of them would say no, and I think I would say no.
Would Fatty say yes?
I think you hold a lot of beliefs still, but I wouldn't say I'm Mormon anymore. I think they have a lot of. I think every church, we've talked about that. Every church has a lot of good things, but they have some bad people, and I ran into a lot of those bad people in the church, unfortunately. And
I've ran into them too. And like growing up, if I was going to spend the night Saturday night, I had to go to church Sunday morning. So I did a lot of time in my youth going to the Mormon.
I got us out of it once. I shut your foot in the door and broke
Yes,
your
you did.
foot.
Broke. Yeah, dude, broke all my toes. Yeah. Hey, we didn't have to go to church that day.
You're welcome.
Yeah. So I'm a Christian. A lot of people would say that Christians shouldn't curse, and unfortunately, I still do. But no. As far as religion goes, there are bad actors in all of them.
Yeah.
And I unfortunately point that out to everybody. I'm non-denominational. If it's not in the Bible, I don't read it, I don't practice it, and I typically don't believe in it. Very simple guy. And that's. But I've got friends in most religions. Like Fatty's our boy. Yeah. And that dude is hardcore LDS. Yeah. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. Like, all right,
but
cool,
he's
dude.
one of the good dudes.
Yeah, he's one of those dudes that lives the word. Like, didn't really like even kiss his wife much before they were married.
I don't know if he did.
Yeah, I don't think he did. Now my question is, the sheets. Y'all use sheets?
My mom has Jesus jammies.
Yeah, dude. Man. The super underwear. Man.
Yeah. What are those actually called? I don't know.
Dude. So my brother-in-law's father-in-law, follow that logic, was over here a few weeks ago, and he called them
garments.
The proper term is garments.
Yes.
I call them super underwear, and then Jesus jammies is
that was
one.
my favorite one.
And then what did he call them? Ron called them because he's got a really good buddy of his he's known forever that is very devout LDS, and what did he call them? Was it Christian chaps, Jesus chaps, something like that? I'll have to ask him what he called them because it was hilarious, dude. I like fell out laughing. I was like, I've never heard that one before. But we still have friends that are LDS.
Yeah. I have friends every religion. Doesn't bother me.
Yeah, like
I don't even remember what Yasser was, but it was something.
He was non-practicing Muslim.
Okay.
He wasn't practicing. But when we were rock climbing, he brought that buddy of his that was practicing.
Yes.
Nice guy. Like he wasn't
good eggs.
Yeah, man.
Well,
like there's every group. There's an a-hole in every group. Yep. I'm the one in this group. But like, yeah, dude. Let's see. Which do you prefer? Do you prefer going out in the cold and in the mountains of Utah or the high desert of Arizona?
This is a difficult question because if it's for short spans, I like the cold. If it's for long term, I'll take heat all day. I cannot
so short
stand the
spurts
cold.
like from the front door to your car?
No, like if you plan like, hey, I'm gonna go skiing or I'm gonna go snowboarding.
Yeah.
Like when we went for my
because
bachelor
we're
party,
not 90.
I loved it.
Yeah, we snowboard because we're not old.
Yeah, for 2 days, and I was done. Then I went to Vegas, and it was a much better time there. You got to sit at a table, chill. That's all that matters.
And get ripped off by people at the tables. I got ripped off. John almost got ripped off.
Oh, that old lady.
His wasn't an old lady. She was like, I'd say she was like 40.
No, she jacked the old lady that was sitting between us. She jacked $200 from him when he won.
Yeah, but she wasn't old.
She was like 90. She had a cane. She took his vape pen.
No, I'm thinking of it. No, there's a different lady. So it was just John and I. You guys were all off playing poker, and I don't play poker because I'm just not very good at it. But I like the roulette tables, and John and I were sitting at the roulette table for, at that point, it'd been like an hour, and we were on a pretty good streak, and we were both playing with big chips, and this lady sat down and started playing little chips, and we were playing $100 hands like the whole time because we were half drunk in Vegas and we were on a winning streak, so we just started getting kind of crazy. So at any given time, we'd have like $500 a piece on the table, and she started following his bet because he and I would follow like the 1 and 2s, but anything specific we'd kind of break off the door thing. Like if I was picking my own quarter, he was typically on a different quarter.
Oh, okay.
So just different, different feelings or whatever. But if we were, if I was betting black, he'd bet black, or whatever. If I was betting a third, he'd bet the same third. But if we were doing something specific, but she started following his specific bets because he was doing all right. Like he hit the specifics a few times, and she started placing bets with him. And then it got to the point where I think I was only betting thirds, and then he was still betting colors. So she started placing on his colors, and then he'd win his $100, and she'd come over, and they got to where it was like in the middle of the two of them. So I was on his right, and she was on his left. But they'd show up in the right in between, and me and him were chit chatting and joking and having a good time. And then he just like kind of starts nudging me, and he's like, "Dude, see this?" and he just left them there in the middle because he's like, "I didn't put those there. Like I don't know why they're in between us." And he was like, "I'm just gonna keep an eye on it." And then eventually she kind of went over to her side, and then we started kind of like, "Hey, buddy," like to the guy running the table, where it was like, "Did you see?" Like just kind of making eyes, like, "Bro, do you see this shit? Like she's got $200 right here. She's playing with little chips. How she got 2 greens?" And eventually the pit boss came over with security and turned into a big old deal. And she's, "Oh, I'm here on this big convention. I didn't steal nothing." And she was staying there and got kicked out and barred from it. So then we continue our night, and I don't know if it was the same night. Was that the night that we went and watched Penn and Teller, or was that the first? Like, because we were there for
Penn and Teller was the second night.
So
the first night.
So, but so the first night is when he got ripped off, which almost got ripped off, and then after Penn and Teller, and we stayed there, and then we wound up bombing around, and we made it back to, was that Treasure Island? Which casino after? So we were at Rio for a while.
And then New York.
So we stayed at Rio for a while, and a couple of you guys were sitting there playing poker for a while, and we were just hanging out. And then we went to TI, and that's when all of us took over a roulette table. And
that was Treasure Island.
I may or may not have photos of all of us at the table, which is not technically legal, but
it's frowned upon.
Yeah, I managed to get someone to get a picture of all of us taking over this table, and we did really well there. Most of us. Kevin lost his ass.
No, Gavin was up.
Was it Cap? No, okay. So who lost?
Eli.
Eli lost. Roy was still there, right?
Yeah.
Roy lost.
Well, Roy might not have been. Roy and Dustin, I think, bailed for a little bit and came back.
But we had a few friends that were like, I know Dustin was kind of not doing well, because Dustin and I were both like having a rough day that day. Like he was having problems with his chick. I was arguing with my chick. Like we weren't great. So we were palling around like all day when we were at the old strip at Nugget and everything. He and I just weren't stoked. But that night we came out and I was like, "Dude, we're doing this." We got comped at dinner.
Yep.
And after dinner I was like, "Bro, we got this. Me and you, we're gonna win some money tonight." And then like the whole mood changed. And then like me and my lady were good. Like started sending me nice messages and stuff, put me in a better place. And then we just went for it and made a bunch of money. And then left there, went to New York, because all y'all drunk bastards wanted to go get pizza. And
that was a bad idea.
Dude, going to New York was a good idea. I won more money, but you almost got in a fight with a pizza guy. Rightfully so, but it's hilarious. All I know, so hold on, before we get to that part, so we get there, And I'm just a roulette guy. So that's everywhere we went, no matter where we were, I was at a roulette table. And you guys kind of bounced around from poker to blackjack to roulette. You guys, everyone kind of social butterflied, but I was always just posted up the same table. And I told everyone, I'm going to be at this table. When you need me, this is where I'll be. Like, I'm not going to leave this table. So I posted up at this table at New York. And for a little while, Dustin was with me. And then he bailed off to go play poker or whatever you guys were doing. And then this lady comes and sits next to me, and I'm on a pretty good streak, and I'm doing really well. And I mean, I got a good buzz going, but I'm not so drunk that I don't know which money is mine. And so she starts matching my bets everywhere, and now I'm really paying attention to what she's doing because John's stuff had already happened. So now I'm aware of it, and this woman starts matching my stuff. So I'm like, this isn't okay. I don't like this way this is going. And then I hit a big one, and I had like $200 on that hand, and it was on something very specific that won me like $600. And the winnings came in, and she took all of them and left. And I was like, she just took half that pot was mine. Like, or over half, because I think she'd only had like a $25 chip, and I had a couple $100. Jeez. And she walked off with all of it. So I was like, nope, get your pit boss. And the lady there was like, what? I was like, get your pit boss. She's just like, okay. So I get the pit boss to come over. And I was like, hey, bro, there was a woman sitting right here. Pull up your video. You can see my hand. She just walked off with all the winnings. And those 90% of that was mine. And so he looks at it. And he goes, what did you have on there? And I told him. And I was like, you see the video. You see how much I placed. Yeah. So then he gave me my winnings. And then I was like, I'm done playing here. And then as I'm walking over to find somebody, I think it was Dustin. He's like, Randy, get over here. Nick's about to get in a fight. So then I show up and all the dudes are there. And then you can take over the story from there because I wasn't there for the first half of it.
Wow, there wasn't really much to tell. We went and got pizza. After we got pizza, we went back to the restaurant. And I go into the bathroom. I use the urinal. And the guy walks out directly behind me out of one of the stalls. And I walk over and I start washing my hands, and he walked out just a second after me. So I wash my hands and I watch, and he has an apron on, and he's walking straight back out. So I was like, that's weird. So I hurried and washed my hands, and I kind of jogged to catch up to him, and I watch, and he walks right back in New York Pizza place, whatever the hell it's called. And he walks in the back, I walk in the front and watch him, and he walks straight into the back and right up to the line, no gloves or nothing, and starts touching the pizza. Ugh. And I lost my shit. I started yelling and screaming. I was like, you just served me pizza, you dirty mother. I started yelling and screaming. I was pissed. And so the manager came over, and from the pizza place, and he's like, oh, well, he just came back and washed his hands. And I was like, watch your camera. No, he didn't.
I watched him.
He didn't watch his
I watched it.
Yeah, that's more like what it was. But I'm sitting there like yelling and screaming, and the manager's standing between us because I wanted to fight the guy. I'm not an angry person, but I really did.
You were ready to throw down. Well, messing with someone's food.
Yeah,
that's quick. That's quick anger.
Plus, I just saw him do it to more people's pizza, and they weren't even going to do anything about it. So he called the manager from TI. And we're standing there, the three of us or the four of us are talking, both managers and that guy, or the server, whatever. And then all 6 or 7 of you guys start crowding behind me, and so I'm sitting there yelling back and forth.
Yeah, we were rolling deep.
They offered to comp me a whole bunch of stuff, and I was like, no, just get that dude to wash his damn hands. I was so pissed, dude. It was so disgusting. And I just remember John walks up behind me, my brother. He sticks his head up. He's like, hey, either hit him or let's get out of here. And I was like, all right, let's go. I don't know if I ever actually wanted to hit him, but I was very
You were
pissed.
irate.
I wanted to start poking him in the chest. I think that's 1 or 2 times in my life I've ever been that mad. I was pissed.
Yeah, I think the first time was at a cop.
One time. I know my rights.
I know my rights. Oh, dude, it's so great. I love that so many people now. I've spread that story around so much that other people know you for it.
David.
Yeah.
Writes me that all the time now. He's like, oh, yeah, don't worry about doing that later. I know my rights.
I know my rights.
Go ahead, then.
Oh, that story?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, the one time we got arrested?
Paper arrested.
Yeah. I was in handcuffs in the back of a car for a little while. Yeah, at 16. I mean, we got arrested, so it's not like there's statute of limitations. Like, we got caught.
It's expunged.
Yeah. So at 16, right after I turned 16, you weren't even 16 yet. You were still 15.
Maybe.
Yeah. So hanging
Oh,
out.
no, because Calvin was 16. He was driving, so I had to be 16.
No, it was summertime, though.
It had to be the summer after we turned 16 because Calvin was driving and he didn't get in trouble. And he's younger than us. Had to be. So you were probably almost 17.
Almost 17 then, yeah, because it was before my birthday,
Yep.
I guess then. So it was like late June, early July when we were 16. But I was the oldest person in the damn car, which bit me in the ass hard. So hanging out with your oldest brother, because he had an apartment by the mall, hanging out over there, partying, being teenage boys, and decided to go to a party that John's friends were having in the desert. And at that point, I didn't even want to go anymore because I was having such a good time at Mike's. I was like, I don't even want to go to this damn party. Like, I don't want to drink. I'm sitting here, I'm smoking. I don't want to drink. But I was like, all right, cool, we're going to this party. So we go to the party, have a really good time, drink a handle of pop-off vodka. So a gallon of vodka.
About.
Cheap vodka. Yeah, there was like that much left in the bottle.
I know they
Which went on
it.
my arrest record. So we go out there having a great time partying with all these adults. And we're just toddlers getting hammered drunk. And you got real bad because we stopped and ate at Wendy's right before we went over there, and you didn't eat. So we eat, go to the party, get hammered drunk. You went and laid down in Kevin's car. And then that's when we'd been there the whole time, and I had never saw John.
Hold up. I didn't lay down in Kevin's car. I went out in the middle of the desert to use the bathroom. And my brother found me playing with cactus because I couldn't find the camp with the huge fire that was about 50 yards that way. I couldn't find it.
With like 200 people.
And all the noise. I was just playing with cactus.
It was such a big party.
I had it in my finger.
Because it was all of 47 and all of their friends.
Yeah.
Like, so we
So John walked me back and laid me in Kevin's car.
Well, and to make that even better, John was on crutches with 2 broken legs.
He hobbled. He wasn't on crutches the whole time. But yeah.
Well, his crotches were being held by like Asian or somebody.
Yeah.
And he hobbled you into the car. And I was still vertical, but very much gone. And I was hanging out with...
you were leaning Tower of Pisa.
Yeah, pretty much. And I was leaning on everybody else. And that was... his name starts with a J. I don't remember. One of the bigger guys.
Jeremy?
Yeah, Jeremy.
Morrow?
So I was hanging out with Morrow and one of his, like, taller than Morrow, but just as big. I was hanging out with these guys, like, pretty much all night. Because Morrow was always cool with me. Like, the dude was, like, a brawler, but never gave me... I don't know if it's just because I was young and funny. Like, because I don't think it was just because I was boys with your brother.
No.
Like, I don't think that saved anybody. But they never gave us problems with a 46 and a half. They never gave us problems. So they were always cool to us. So they were like, all right, man, like, your boy's in the car. You guys are going to be going. I was like, I'm not ready to go. And they're like, no, you guys are ready to go.
Yeah. We were ready to
so
go
they
like 2
walked me
hours
over to the
before that.
car, and that's when I saw John for the first time all night. Because we were like, where's John? He's supposed to be here. And he wasn't there until they found out you were there. And he's like, damn it. So I gotta go get these freaking toddlers out of this party. So load us up in the car. We're in a Prelude. It's not a big car.
Out in the middle of the desert.
Yeah, so I lay down a lowered Prelude with a 7-inch exhaust. So I lay down in the back of the Prelude. You're up in the front passenger seat. Kevin gets us out of there. We get about halfway, no, almost 3/4 of the way to your brother's house.
At like 2 in the morning.
Yeah, and you're like, oh, throw up. I'm gonna pull over. So Kevin pulls over so you can throw up. And at that point, cop goes the other way, sees us pulled over. So he's like, get in the car. Pulls you in. We start going in his loud-ass car. And so we get pulled over up the street. And I was like, oh, no. So I just told Kevin. So I was wearing a cowboy hat. So I pull over my face. And I just told Kevin, just tell him I'm sleeping. Like, in my oh-so-experienced mind. Just tell him I'm sleeping. So I'm laying down in the back and my eyes are wide open. I'm like, oh, this isn't good. So before we go farther, my mom, 2 of my aunts, and all of my uncles are cops. So I'm very aware of how this is going to work out for me. So I'm got my cowboy hat over my face, laying down in the back of this car, freaking out. It's like, oh, the cop comes up. Hey, what are you guys doing tonight? And you're just like drooling on yourself.
One time.
So the cop goes, all right, get everyone's IDs. And so Kevin's like nudging me. He's like, Randy, give me your ID. And I'm like, pull out my wallet, give him my ID. And then they come back a few minutes later, ask you where your brother is. So that was, as soon as I heard him say that,
That was
I was like,
every time I got pulled over.
we're screwed. Like, we're so screwed. And you're like, I don't know. So I don't watch out. I don't know what he's doing. And then the cop wants to get us out of the car. He's like, all right, get out of the car. You're like, I'm not getting out of the car. Like, no, you need to get out of the car. I know my rights. I'm not getting out of my car.
Wait. He leaned in the window on my side and shined the flashlight in my eyes, which pissed me off because I was tired and drunk. And I looked up at him and he's like, get out of the car. I was like, you get out of the car. I know my rights. Which is not correct. But yes, that's why.
Oh, you knew some of your rights, just not to the full extent to his ability to get you out of the damn car. So you're arguing with the cop aggressively, and the cabin's like, Nick, calm down. And I'm like, oh, and they're like, Randy, get up. And I'm like, oh. So I set up, put my cowboy hat back on. I'm like, this sucks so bad. So they get you out of the car finally, set you down on the side of the road, get me out of the car, set me down. And I was like, this sucks. Like, but there's still a little bit of hope, because there was that party we'd been to a few months earlier where the cops raided the house, and they had everyone lined up on the side of the road. And then,
like
they asked,
200 people
and then they asked, who, yeah, I know, but this had just happened. So, and then they only breathalyzed the drivers.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the one person in our friend group that didn't party at all, but liked to go to parties as our driver, which is why he was our driver. He didn't drink. He didn't do anything wrong. We were drinking. But they breathalyzed Matt, and they were like, okay, who's riding with him? We're like, right here, these guys, and got out of there. So that went through my mind for like a brief moment. But I was also drunk. So I was like, bro, we might get this. Kevin didn't drink. We might get this. Like, and then he brings over the breathalyzer, and I was so drunk. Now, my memory, I mean, that's just a long time ago, almost 40 now, but either I was inhaling through the breathalyzer.
You were.
Or I wasn't breathing hard enough.
No, you were inhaling. I wasn't breathing hard enough on purpose. I was just going.
So he's like, breathe until you hear the pop. And I'm like, he's like, you need to exhale. And I was like, I am. So it took a few tries, and I finally got the little pop, and then was very much over the legal limit for an adult.
I saw the paperwork for mine, 0.287.
Yeah. and I wasn't far behind. And because I was lighter, but I had food in my stomach. So I was right underneath yours. I think it was like 6 or 5.
265
like,
or something.
yeah, like I was just lighter than yours. So then they start calling parents, and I was praying to God that they would just relinquish me to Robin or your parents.
Yeah, Kevin.
Because my dad was not answering the phone, and I was praying. So at this point, they cuffed me and put me in the back of a squad car. And I don't know if anyone watching this is familiar with July nights in Tucson, Arizona, but it is hot. And if you've ever been drunk and hot, you know what happens next. It doesn't end well for you. So it was already like kind of warm at night, but it wasn't terrible because it was the AM. So it was probably like 85 degrees out. Not miserable if you're a local. And put me in the back of that squad car with no air conditioning, with the windows up. And I was like, oh no. Like, I felt it coming up. I was like, oh no. And I'm like this, and I'm like trying to hit my elbow on the window, and then I start hitting my head on the window, and I'm yelling because that had cracked, and I'm yelling to the officer to get me out of this car. And I was like, hey, I'm going to throw up, man. Get me out of here. It's too hot. Get me out of here. He's like, I'll turn on the AC in a minute. And I was like, no, I'm going to throw up in a minute. Get me out. and they just ignored me. So I just leaned over in the floorboard of the back and just, and at that point, the cop was like, "Oh no!"
I remember
It
him.
comes over, gets me out, and he is pissed that I threw up in his car. I was like, "I told you I was gonna throw up. I've been yelling at you for a few minutes. I'm gonna throw up." He's like, "Oh, I should make you clean that up with your shirt." And I was like, "You're not making me clean this up with your shirt. My mom just bought me this shirt." And I just start getting super emotional. So on my arrest paperwork, it says that I was belligerent and combative and emotional. And I'm like, yeah, I kind of was.
Yeah, it kinda was. I think mine says the same thing. Don't feel bad.
And then I got hit for curfew. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Tobacco, underage, because I was smoking cigarettes at the time. So I had a pack of cigarettes, which my stepmom smoked. So that was like insult to injury. So my dad finally answered because they didn't want to take me off, but they were going to release me to Robin because Robin did respond, and she showed up, even though Calvin was allowed to drive his own car away. And then your parents answered. They were like, "We're okay to release." And then as Robin got there and they were saying they can release me under her, my dad answered and was on his way. And I was like, "Oh, I'm so dead." Because Robin was cool. Your parents were cool. My dad's not cool. And my stepmom was way worse. Even though she was a full tilt alcoholic, God forbid I get drunk. So my dad shows up in the Blue Beast, old square body 4x4. I wasn't getting in the front seat with them, so I laid down in the back and went home and woke up at like 9 in the morning in July morning in the back of this truck getting cooked. And then I try to get in the house and I'm locked out. And I'm like, "Oh, this sucks so bad." So I had to go crawling through my window and get into bed. And then the rest of my life was miserable for the rest of that year. But yeah, dude.
they sat me on the curb.
Well, after I threw up, they set me next to you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Well, he's
Well,
fine. Like, why did I have to go in a car?"
You saved me from going in a car because they said they were going to put me in a car, and I told them I was going to throw up.
And then I did throw up.
You did throw up, and then I leaned over and made, like, I didn't gag myself, but like I felt like I had to anyway, so I threw up anyways because they sent me to the hospital
Yes. Well, you
because
had
they were going to pump my stomach because of how my BAC.
Yeah.
So they sent me to the hospital, and I remember some of the ambulance ride. I was sleeping, and then remember getting to the hospital, and they were like moving me around, and they're like, "Oh, hey, we have to pump his stomach. We have to pump his stomach." And the officer came to one of the officers came to the hospital. He was like, "He threw up too much. Like, I don't think you're gonna have to worry about that." And I was like, "All right, whatever." So I remember laying me there, and I remember seeing both my parents. So I started closing my eyes, pretending I was asleep because I didn't want to deal with it at that moment.
If I can't see you, I'm invisible.
So-
I'm invisible.
I don't know what time it was, but I did actually fall asleep. And I remember waking up in the hospitals. They have those lights like right above your head.
Yeah.
I think I've told you this, but they have the lights right above your head, and it was seriously like dead center above my head because they've got the light and then the little post that you move by right in the middle, and it was like right above my eyes, and I was like, "The hell's this?" My parents, like literally like a movie, one from each side, lean over, like not at the same time, but like one and then the other. And my dad just looks at me, and he's a nicer than your dad was.
Oh yeah, your dad's
But
way more chill than mine.
He's still stricter. Like my
Your
parents
dad's
are Mormon.
strict but chill.
Yeah.
My dad was strict and aggressive.
I just remember him looking down at me, being like, "Do you know what you did?" I was like, "Yep." He's like, "You gonna do it again?" "Nope." "All right, go back to sleep." "Yep." All over, went back to sleep. And I don't remember ever talking about it after that. Just
No,
hey,
dude.
you're grounded. But
And then it wasn't even a grounding. Like you were still on the phone all the time. Like
you were grounded.
I was grounded, like grounded. But I was also more like of a problem than you were as a teenager anyway. Like I was grounded all the damn time.
I just didn't get caught.
Well, to be fair though, like there's certain things that I had going on you didn't have going on.
Yeah.
Like I got caught with a lot of things in my room and didn't live at home for a while.
Very true.
So yeah, I was chaotic, but that's what happens when you've got a stepmom that doesn't like you and you don't like her.
I liked being over there until when she got drunk. When she
Yeah.
would get drunk, it was
Dude,
bad,
it was
but it was fun
nonsense.
when we had like mornings. We'd wake up in the morning, go feed the cows and stuff. I'd jump the 3-wheeler into the ditch. Like, I mean, there was some fun moments.
Yeah, so I lived on a farm for a long time, a hay farm, and we had 1,000 acres of fields and nothing but desert, nothing but state land behind us. So we had that big berm we could go shoot in all the time. We had our own range. Quads and 3-wheelers, horses, all the cows, chickens, goats.
We were still
pigs.
kids. We'd build hay forts. They had like tons of bales of hay, and we'd build little caverns and stuff.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot
until
of fun.
It collapsed on us and we almost didn't get out. I mean, it wasn't that bad, but
yeah, but it was chaotic. It was a bit chaotic. And then you wrecked the 3-wheeler. It was right after we got the quad. So then I rode the 3-wheeler from then on, and you rode the quad.
You didn't tell me it pulled right, real bad, and it pulled even more right after I was done with it.
Yeah, that was good times. Like, there was moments of being awesome out there, but then it sucked because I was isolated.
Yeah.
Like, the nearest neighbor was a mile away, and that was just another farmer. Like, I had to ride, like, when I had to walk to, like, the neighborhood where Mighty and all them lived, like, that's a mile up that track. I mean, you walked with me a couple of times, and then, like, almost another mile up the main road, up Anway, to get there. So it was like 2 miles from some of my friends. You were like 6 miles away, and I'd have to get rides over there. Yeah, dude. But yeah, like, when she get drunk, she was having us drink. Like, that's a chaotic stepmom.
Yeah.
Like the night that they got married, like all the tequila rose.
Yeah.
Like,
that was odd.
That was, she was a different breed altogether. But
she was fun when she wasn't drunk, though.
she was all right when she was sober. I mean, she wasn't sober often at the end. so glad my dad and her just parted like the Red Seas. And then my behavior, I mean, at that point I was already kind of set on a downward trajectory there for a little while. But that was the only time I ever got arrested.
No.
Came close a couple of times, but it was the only time I ever got arrested.
I came close a lot of other times, but thank you to all the officers out in Morena. When I had a motorcycle, you guys were very nice to me. Getting pulled over doing like 190 and a 45, or 190, 120 and a 45, and then just yelling at me for 10 minutes and then taking off. I appreciate all those times. I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, no, we're pretty upstanding citizens now. Chill, making money, just working.
Trying to make money.
Trying to, yeah. Well, I make money. It just goes away faster than it comes in.
You get paid.
Yeah. I mean, my bank says I get paid. I don't know. I don't really ever see any money.
How long's it been since you've seen cash?
Oh, dude. Yesterday when my kid paid me rent.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Once a week I see cash, and then half of it goes right into the collection plate on Sunday. So it does the same thing as my digital money in my bank account. And then half of it goes to stuff like this.
Yeah.
Oh, credit job. Yeah, dude. So I'm getting stoked for more of this, though. Like, I can't wait till we get some more people in here telling some more fun, chaotic stories.
I want to get Chadwick in here. I remember riding quads with that guy, dude, and he was on my quad. And I had decent suspension, but he was a bigger guy, and it was before he lost weight too. And I remember him going around corners and being like, "Fuck, I hate your sorry, I hate your quad. I don't want to be on this thing." I'm like, dude, it's a 450. It's got some power. It was a little bit different. Edit that one out. My bad.
We're good.
Try
my
not.
little my timestamp. Oh, there we go. 38. We're past 15 minutes. We should be all right.
I'm trying not to.
Yeah,
I swear way too much.
Yeah, me too.
Apologize to viewers if I swear. I try not to.
I apologize for nothing. I think I've sworn once so far.
I don't know.
And it was kind of quiet because halfway through I was like, "Oh no, this is happening. I'm in the middle of it."
It like goes in slow motion in your head almost.
Yeah, it's
but
like,
it's too late.
Yeah. Trying to catch it midair. Yeah, Chadwick's down. It's just a matter of scheduling. So I'm gonna have to set up another day that you're available and he's available at the same time. Like, I've never had to worry about scheduling anything in life until I started planning this.
Yeah, I don't schedule anything.
Like,
I hate it.
trying to get things scheduled. Like, like my wife, because eventually once this is becoming a steady thing, she's going to be one of the co-hosts. So for most of them, I mean, there's going to be times that she's not going to want to, or she's not going to have time to. But I was talking to her yesterday. I was like, okay, Nick might make it tomorrow to do a video. I was like, at some point, you need to be available to do a video. And she was like, we haven't talked to me. And I was like, every time I tell you I'm going outside to record is me telling you to get outside and record with me. And she goes, oh. I'm like, but you're always busy.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to make time. This is something that is a hobby that is going to take time, and you need to figure out a way to coordinate with me. So now I'm having to coordinate with a lot of people.
Yep.
Because now I got like my pastor when he comes in, because that dude's got some stories. He wasn't always a pastor, and he wasn't always a saved man. So he's got some stories. But his schedule's pretty open. Like, I can get him almost anytime, and I know that. But getting Troy to come, like, that's going to be interesting. Plus, he's on the other side of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
He's over, like, Bear Canyon area, so he's far.
Just plan it after work one day. We can stop by.
I've talked to him about that, but even then, I mean, he's always in training. I mean, because again, this is a pro athlete,
Mm-hmm.
so he's always in training.
He's also in school.
He's also in school. He's a freaking jerk.
Dude's a beast.
Got life going.
I know.
All I do is go to work for as many hours as they tell me to, and then I come home. And then I've got a wife who tells me to do other things. Bug.
Bug.
Yeah. So, but yeah, dude, scheduling and then trying to find a different table, because I want one that's not as tall and that'll seat 4 people comfortably. So I either need one that's like round with a leaf, so there'd be 2 people and then 2 people kind of on a face. That way everyone's a camera. And this camera's really close because this lens will do those shots. Like,
I know. I was surprised as wide as it is on there. I
yeah,
was
dude,
like,
this
damn.
lens is dope. Like, when this one showed up, I was like, dude, yes. I had it set with my other lens I was using before this one, because they're both Pro Series lenses. So they're like really nice. I had the camera set back like 5 or 6 feet
Oh, jeez.
to get this shot. So this one is like, it's almost within arm's
I know
reach.
you guys can't see this either, but I keep wobbling the table, and I'm so happy that is on a different thing, because otherwise the whole thing could be like a wada wada wada.
I know, just these, and that's why they've got the little shock absorbers on them. I've also got, if you look on the stool, like across from you over here, are the 2 mic stands.
Oh yeah.
So I've got a third arm right there. But for now, until I get a different table in there on the pool table, is where we'll have 4 people set, because it's going to be really wide, because it's wider than this. So 2 people on the face would even have more room.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll do one on either side, because I've already done testing with that, and that'll get amazing shots too.
Yeah.
And then I can have that set up on the other end of the table. Like, the nice thing is, like, it's so wide that, like, I don't know if, oh no,
When you messing with stuff,
dude, my camera just dropped out.
that's what happens when you touch stuff.
Stupid cable.
That's why I said I don't touch it.
Oh no.
Do you want me to push those back in?
Hold on. All right, I think I'm gonna have to stop. Well, it just popped it, so like it's back on.
Still
So
recording.
I have to, yeah, but now it's only audio.
You can't see me.
Can't see anything. Oh no. All right, let's stop this video. We'll have to pick it up with another one.